we've done creative things before to where like it would be like an owner finance agreement for maybe a year, something like that short term, and we just auction it off. But I prefer to just go ahead and close them out, let them. And most people want that. Most people want their cash today. They don't care if I can auction it. They don't, they just want to be done.
Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm your host today, Brent Bowers, and today I have a longtime veteran rhino on, Travis Goodwin. This guy has come up, through Wholesaling Inc. for years. You see him active in the forums and the group, the Wholesaling Inc. group and the Rhino Tribe group. I mean, he's just always providing value, always sharing wins, always helping people. And he came through the Land Sharks community about a year ago, and this guy is just doing land deals by accident. And what I love about him is he just takes simple action. Today he's going to talk about a couple of his marketing strategies that he's using right now. I love how he calls it powerful harmony in marketing. He's also going to share a next level tip with you that I don't hear anybody else talking about. He's actually going to share a couple tips with you. So I don't want to kind of spoil those. Travis is a super humble dude. Today, we're going to talk about private money and auctions and just really relationships. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I had a blast filming it with him, and let's roll. What's going on, Rhino Nation? I got my good friend Travis Goodwin here today from West Virginia. Travis, how the heck are you, man?
I'm doing great, Brent, man. I appreciate you. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice and be able to just talk with you.
I love it, man. This has been a long time coming. I know this is your second time on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Brent Daniels had the pleasure of interviewing you first because you came through the TTP program. Shout out to that, man. What kind of success have you seen from being in the Wholesaling Inc. TTP program? I know you've been a rhino for probably as long as I have. You came in with the Tom Kroll days.
Yeah, so if it wasn't for Wholesaling Inc., my foundation would probably be a lot different. Um, from Tom being progress, not perfection, to Brent Daniels telling me to go out and get on them phones. That's what created this. Besides me and my effort.
Yeah, you had a lot of effort. You put in a lot of work. You had some instruction from Wholesaling Inc. One thing about that is you took a ton of action and you went off the blind faith, and you just knew, like you saw everyone else having success. That's, I think, one of the best things about this podcast is regular people just like me have had success. Why can't I just follow the same instruction and have success as well? They're not special. I'm not special. And it's just incredible. So hopefully this podcast provides some hope and inspiration to others today. You've been, man, an incredible part of the Land Sharks community. Just the deals I'm seeing you do and the inspiration you provide to others. And what I love about you is I never hear from you unless you're just sharing a win. Not that I mind people asking questions, but there's the person that just, they have questions about their questions. Even though
Yeah.
you showed them, hey, get a fax number. And they're like, are you sure I need a fax number? What fax number should I get? What fax machine? I'm not telling you to get a fax machine. I said, go to myfax.com and get it. Like, it's $12 a month. But then you have the people that said, Brent, I thought you were crazy when you said that, but I just got a deal via fax. I'm going to make $12,000 net profit on it. So like, you're one of those people, you never ask questions. I just hear the wins only. So it's just absolutely makes my day to be, surrounded by guys like yourself that just take action with blind faith. So I want to hear what's been working for you right now in today's market. Cause there's a lot of, people questioning things. Interest rates just went down. Real estate's still moving like crazy. But I want to know what's working right now for you, Travis. What's one of your best things working right now?
What's working for me right now, Brent, is a powerful harmony, I believe, in my marketing. I believe in this day and age, you can't just do one thing, and I know that that's contradictory to what most people say. Everybody says go after one thing, right? Um, but I like to do right now, I'm doing PPL, I'm paying per lead. I'm doing probate direct mail, but I'm cold calling. So, while I'm waiting for these these leads to come in, because sometimes they come in a little slower, definitely when the market changes. I'm also getting on the phones and I'm still calling myself. I think that that's really important. If you have the time, a few hours a day, and you're not calling, you're kind of wasting those hours.
I love that. I've never heard anybody else say that. Perfect harmony in marketing. I call that a force multiplier. You mentioned pay per lead.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned probate, direct mail, and
Yep.
cold calling. What kind of deals are you seeing from these three different marketing channels?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of these single family houses is what I focus on a lot. Land, I love land, but for some reason land comes to me by accident. Like I'm not actively looking for land, it just comes to me. You know what I mean? Um, so that's what I'm doing a lot of, the single family. And what I'm doing right now is I'm not really assigning a lot. We're taking them down, private money, using private money, take them down. And I'm doing, I call it the auction method. I'm in a smaller market and we have auctions. We have brokers here who run auctions. So I've just kind of been providing shovels to the gold diggers who want to flip. Everybody wants to get rich off flipping right now. So that's kind of been my thing in the last year is I've just been buying these houses, cleaning them out and land, and just auctioning them off to the highest bidder.
I love that. And you're doing that through a real estate broker with the auction method?
Yeah, yeah. So I have an auctioneer that I use and he's an agent. And what they do is like I have a really good relationship with him, like to the point I can go look at a house right now, take some pictures and send it to him and say, hey, what do you think this would auction for? You know what I mean? And he can give me a general idea of if I'm in the right ballpark or not. But anyway, so I use him as a great resource. And what we do, he instead of just putting a sign in the yard and putting it on the MLS, they put a sign in the yard, they put it on the MLS, but they're also putting it on multiple MLSs across the country. And you're getting people
Oh,
from out of
nice.
state bidding, it just goes crazy.
And people love a good auction. So that's an interesting method. I don't really run across too many people doing this method. I mean, what do I assume these are basically assignment fees, or are you actually taking it down and then putting it up for auction?
Yeah, we're closing on them, then putting them up on auction. Now, we've done creative things before to where like it would be like an owner finance agreement for maybe a year, something like that short term, and we just auction it off. But I prefer to just go ahead and close them out, let them. And most people want that. Most people want their cash today. They don't care if I can auction it. They don't, they just want to be done.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people just want to kind of clean their hands of it. That's why
Yeah.
you're getting it at such a great discount. Well, let me ask you, what's on average, what type of profit are you seeing net profit per transaction? Is there a certain average or is there a minimum you go for? Like, 'cause I'm very curious about this.
Yes, I want to make a minimum of $20,000 if I auction it. A minimum profit. It's been about a year now. We bought one for 40, okay, and we sold it, I believe it was 77 is what we sold it for. So that was a pretty good profit. And we didn't do anything. Like, we didn't even clean it out. We just put it on the auction.
That's incredible. So about a 40, 50, 60, about $37,000 net profit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I really like the auctions because it's funny because I know these buyers. They know me like when I sign, and it's funny to watch these same buyers overpay when they don't know I own it. Or they don't think I'm involved in it, like as an assignment. It seems like, oh, well, that's Travis. It's another assignment. We only want to give him the minimum assignment. Then it'll go up for
Yeah,
auction,
yeah.
and these same guys pay like double the amount.
Isn't that interesting? So I had a saying when I was wholesaling houses when I would assign contracts. I did the auction method. However, I called it more the shark feeding frenzy. I would invite as many cash buyers as possible to a walk through an inspection period. Sometimes I'd ask my family and friends to come if it was a little low on numbers as far as just kind of RSVPs, just to make it look like there was more people interested.
Yep.
And I found that if if they came back a second time, I didn't charge them enough the first time.
There you
Let
go.
that sink in. I didn't get a big enough assignment fee from them the first time, but here's the thing: the second time, I never got as big of an assignment fee. It
Yeah.
was never as big the second time, and then I did kind of the similar thing. I started putting them on the MLS.
Hmm.
Yeah, we called it, just basically we just buy it, clean it, junk it out. Sometimes we fix it up, wholetailed it really, and then you're right. For some reason, these same guys would buy it off the MLS and they'd pay more. Um, it was very interesting. So I can absolutely agree with that. Well, what's the time frame on these looking like? Because it sounds like you're not doing renovations or anything. You're just slapping it on the MLS, multiple MLSs across the country.
Yeah, within 90 days,
That's
it's
amazing.
usually closed out within 90 days.
That's amazing. Well, you mentioned private money, and that's a hot topic in my heart because when I was doing smaller land deals, I was just doing land deals that I could potentially afford to buy myself. And then
Hmm.
when I started, sharing what I was doing and educating other people, I started attracting money, private money. And I still get on podcasts and I say to this day, like, guys, I'm always looking to do more deals with other people. If you don't want to, create your own land business and you've got some cash sitting on the sidelines or maybe in the rocky stock market and you're nervous with what's going on, I'm buying land at less than 60 cents on the dollar and I'm turning around and selling this land quickly or seller financing this land. So if you want to put your cash to work and earn a great interest rate secured by land at a great price, then reach out to me. So that's one way I've gotten quite a few private lenders. How are you attracting your private lenders? How are you getting private lenders? And do you want more? Maybe you can get some off the Wholesaling Inc. podcast.
Yeah, always looking for more money, right? So how I usually do it, like I got one guy that's a private money lender, and he's been kind of like a mentor for me from the beginning. So he's just watched me do so much business that he's like, Travis, I want to do business with you, right? But if it's just if it's a stranger, like I went to an appointment the other day and I could tell this guy has some money. Like I could just tell this seller wasn't a distressed seller per se when it comes to his finances, right? So, we get to talking and I just start telling him about other deals that I've done and he starts getting really intrigued with it and hearing my story and how I got started. And he just ended up asking me like, "Hey, how can I lend you money?" Because I always tell people, oh, they always ask me since I'm young, like, "How do you buy these houses? Like, how do you have money for to buy all these houses?" And I was like, "Well, it's not my money, I got guys who, they might be doctors, attorneys, whatsoever, and they don't have time to go out here and find houses." But I do. That's what I do. So I'm able to give them a return that's higher than what they're going to get in the stock market or et cetera, and it just usually interests people. I think it's my energy more than anything. Like if I was out here trying to get a bunch of private money online, and I don't know if I'd be successful. I think it's just people meet me, they like me, and they want to be a part of it.
That's so good. That's so good. It's not our money anyways. It's all God's money. We're
There
just
you
we're
go.
just good stewards of it. That's right. I need to go see the doctor more often.
Yeah.
you know, hey, I'm just here for my checkup and I wanted to tell you about what I do in the real estate business.
There you go. I
I
swear.
love it, man. Well, let's talk about a land deal real quick. I've been seeing like your posts are just always inspirational. So tell me about a good land deal you've done lately.
Okay, so I'm not doing enough land deals. I need more land deals, Brent. Okay, that's why I'm
Why? Why
here.
do you
I
need
want
more?
I want to do land deals, okay? But my problem is I don't really like the land here where I'm at. Like I'm in West Virginia,
Mm.
so a lot of the land here is just mountainside, it's you got to be specific. What I really like is land that you can put mobile homes on.
Oh
Um,
yeah, baby.
Clayton Homes.
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah, they're huge.
Cool, cool. So I got, some reps from Clayton. So these people have a list of people that's just waiting for the right piece of land. They're just waiting. The buyers are already there. So I'm building relationships with them and I'm trying to feed them as much properties as I can.
Yeah. All as well. So you're feeding as many properties as you can to Clayton Homes. Guys that already have buyers for their homes, but they just need a piece of land to plug these manufactured mobile homes into.
That's right. And sometimes you might have to like clean the property off a little bit, remove some old trailers, do things like that. But that's really all you have to do. You can have your due diligence. Like I like to put a due diligence in my contract, and I'm pretty much wholesaling it to them without a signing. I double close, something like that, right? That way I know for sure it's what they want. I don't want to buy a piece of land to find out later that it just doesn't work with Clayton. Same with the auctions. I use my auctioneer as a balance there. I use these people. That's the biggest thing. I help not use them. These people are around me as a resource, right? If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be buying none of this stuff. I trust them. I built good relationships with them. They tell me what they need.
Will Clayton Homes put a deposit down with you in order to secure them land and have the first right of refusal on it? Because the reason why I ask is I've had some buyers in the past. Hey, I need this or I need that. I'm looking for this, and I used to go out there and spend a ton of time trying to find it for them. I'd find it, and then oh well, this won't work or that it won't work. So when I started having them put a deposit down, a non-refundable deposit, they usually bought, and I didn't waste my time. So maybe I don't know if you've talked to them about that, but that's another option as well.
Yeah, I've never talked to him about that. I honestly don't spend a lot of time on it because how I usually find these properties, I'm not pulling lists or doing anything. I'm just driving by them. I'm driving by on an appointment and I'm like, oh, look, there's a piece of land that already has a mobile home on it. It just needs
Mm-hmm.
ripped down and there you go. And most likely, as long as the land's right and there's already a home on it, somebody will probably put another home there. Nine times
That's
out of
yeah.
10.
Yep, absolutely. And you already have electric and water and maybe a septic system or sewer close by. Well, tell me about your favorite land deal. What's the easiest, most favorite one you've done?
The easiest one that I've ever done. And it was on Sycamore Road um, and it came to me by accident. Somebody randomly messaged me on Facebook because what I like to do sometimes is once a month, once every 2 months, I'll go into all these local groups and I just spam it with like, some type of advertisement. Like, I'm buying houses and land today. Who wants to sell? Right? Message me. Well, this is just some random lady. She was just like, look, I seen your post. I don't want this land anymore. I'll sell it to you right now for $6,000. And I was like, okay, would you take two for it? I didn't even know anything about it. I was just like, would you take two for it? And she's like, no, I'll take
Straight to
six.
negotiation.
Yeah. She said, I'll take six. And I looked at it and I was like, man, like this is worth at least 20 grand. You know what I mean? Like as is, don't touch it, do anything. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. Six grand. So I bought it, put it right up on auction. And it was 20 grand is what I made, at the end. So that was an easy deal. Um, I really like the auctions, and with land, I think that it's really easy. So if you can find an auction in your local market, like I know not all markets have these, but if you can find one and build that relationship, man, that's really the way to sell. Just because it creates such a demand. I don't believe if I would have sold that piece of land myself, I would have made as much. I would have put a lot more time into it. I would have answered a bunch of questions.
Yeah, yeah, that's the biggest thing is like I sell a lot of land and a lot of it on Facebook Marketplace. And oh my goodness, they ask so many questions. And one of the best ways I found is just ask them the questions. Is this available? I don't know. I can check for you, but if it is, are you ready to become a landowner today?
Yeah,
you know, it's it's like it turns me back into being in charge because it's like they fired 20 or 30 questions at you. It's like they're not even buyer, they're just a tire kicker. So how does someone find this auction broker like you found, or how did you create this relationship? How did you find this person?
so I actually, the company that I use is a big company, and I always knew who they were around here. But as far as my auctioneer goes, so I assigned a house to another buyer, and there were some things in the house that I wanted. Like there were some old records, and the seller was like, "Oh yeah, you can have them." So I was like, "I just want them. You know, they're cool." So I went in there to get some records, and that's when I met Keith. You know, Keith was sitting in there. And he had a clipboard, and I was like, "Who are you?" You know, he's like, "Oh, I auction houses." So I was like, "Oh, okay. So let me get your number." You know, and that's how it started. You know, and then I really like when I'm trying to build a relationship with somebody, it's not all about me. So what I started to do was I started to look at houses, and every time I would give an offer and I knew there wasn't a deal there, I'd give them Keith's number and I'd say, "Hey, here, tell Keith that Travis Goodwin gave you his cell phone number." And before you know it, he's heard my name so much that Keith is calling me like, "Hey, I pretty much work for you now, you know?"
That's powerful, man. That's the go giver in action right there. And Rhino Nation, if you have not read that book, I highly recommend get it now. Go on Audible, whatever it takes. I'm a slow reader, then get it on Audible. If you're a slow reader, then I'm telling you, you just got to read more because I used to be a slow reader. But that is one of the best books I've ever read is The Go Giver. So
Yes. I
sounds like
read
you're
it
doing
every
it,
year.
Travis. There you go. Guys, right there. Perfect example. Reading it every year. I know Brent Daniels, I believe he reads it every year. I probably read it every other year. Maybe I need to read that book more often. There's just so many great books. I mean, I'm looking at my bookshelf right now. I've got like 5 or 6 going right now. I just, which I don't recommend. You should probably stick to one at a time. But there's just so much good information out there that people have just come ahead of us
Yep.
that write it. You know, I found an old book on my bookshelf the other day called Trump, The Art of the Deal.
Oh yeah.
And I look where I left off. I got this as a kid. I looked at I was only halfway through. I don't know if I ever finished this, but I got to go back and reread it because there's some powerful information out there. So guys, I just kind of jumped on a soapbox here, but you should be reading every single day. Every
Every
single
day,
day.
8 pages a day.
8 pages. That's it.
And you know that book, that Trump book, there's one thing I remember from that book that stuck with me, and it was he never has phone calls for more than 15 minutes.
Oh,
So
that's
no
so
matter
good.
who you are, 15 minutes, that's it.
Yeah, you gotta get to the point. And that's so
Yep.
funny that you say that because I have a calendar link and it's 15 minutes. And
There you
you would
go.
be surprised at how many people say, "Oh, I know we only have 15 minutes. I'm gonna get right to it."
Yep.
So, and that's it. Like, we were, I had a cold call today, me and another land shark, and the seller said they don't want to sell. His wife doesn't want to sell. And then that seller went on to talk for almost 10 more minutes about the weather, about the hurricane, all, and God bless the people that were affected by that. But I told my Land Sharks community member, I said, tell him you got to go. You have another call coming in. You got to jump off the phone because you don't want to listen to him for an hour every time you follow up with him. You got 3 hours involved in this guy and you might never do a deal with him.
Yep.
So I love that 15-minute thing. Well, Travis, thanks for being a go giver today. What would you tell to someone that's struggling listening to this podcast or they don't know where to get started or what to do? Like, what would you tell that person uh, right now today, knowing what you know?
I think that work on yourself first. If you're having doubts about something, it's within. And you know,
Hmm.
read. Really, reading's going to do a lot for you, and developing good habits like reading will that I think that's the answer. Finding what's in with yourself, that's the problem most people have. And once you got that figured out, when it comes to the business side of things, just get you a mentor, follow that blueprint, do exactly as they say, and stay consistent. And remember that it's like a stairway. You know, don't focus on the tops of the steps if you're at the bottom still. It's just one step at a time.
Oh, that's so powerful. Just to reiterate, read, find a mentor coach that's doing it. Don't focus on the top of the stairway or the stairs if you're at the bottom. And it's okay. We all start at the bottom.
Yep.
And one step at a time. And I love it, man. Thanks for being on Rhino Nation. I mean, golly, I've never talked to anybody about a house auctioneer across the country. That's amazing to me. Probate, direct mail, cold calling. Cold calling absolutely works, and I love that 3 hours a day. I remember when I was getting out of the military, I used to sit in my garage in Florida, 100-degree, high humidity, 100% humidity, sweating for 3 hours a day, cold calling. And guess what? Deals came from it. Always be attracting private money. And you're like, Brent, I've never done a deal. How do I do that? Well, just go in there with it on your mind. I go to a gym that people pay pretty big money to go to this gym. And guess what? There's private money all around me. And, a lot of people will have their headphones on. They don't want to talk. I'm that guy that interrupts them and like, how's your day going? What brings you in here at 11 o'clock in the morning? Well, I'm retired. Yeah. I'm going to play golf after this. You want to come? And I'm like, I don't golf, but I should. So always be attracting private money. Rhino Nation, stay in action mode. I want you to head on over to wholesalinginc.com. That's wholesalinginc.com/land and schedule a call with me today. I will be returning that call. I'm going to ask you several questions, but what I really want to see on that call is what are you doing today to build your business, to live your dream. Like you're in education mode right now by listening to this podcast. I want you to get out of education mode and start taking action, just like Travis here, because I get to see all of a lot of his wins, probably not even 1/3 of his wins. But yeah, man, you've been an inspiration to a lot of Rhino Nation. Thanks for jumping on today, Travis. God bless, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.